Tuesday, May 21st, 2024, Chambersburg Area School District, our regular meeting. Before we do the pledge, a moment of silence. Thank you, Chris.
Yep.
Before we do the pledge, a moment of silence. Just last Tuesday, the board had an executive session to discuss personnel matters, and then this evening, before this meeting, we had another executive session to review personnel items and real estate. So please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Item 2.03, need a motion to adopt tonight's agenda, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Gogler, second by Dr. Diller. Questions, discussions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, and so moved. 3.01, President's Report. Keep it short again tonight. We're down into the home stretch with school. Although it's a busy time, I know for staff as well as students, all the end of year stuff and staff with evaluations and finishing up the year and even getting ready for summer school and everything else that goes with it. There's no real coasting as you come to the end, but we're getting close to the regular school year. But I think for a lot of the administration, the workload's just starting to really pick up again. But just speaking of graduations, magnet school graduation is May 30th, and the high school is May 31st. And we'll all pray for sunny skies and no thunderstorms. With that, Superintendent's report, Mr. Bigger.
Thanks, Mr. Norcross. Just a few items to highlight in tonight's agenda specifically as we begin to stabilize and sustain our future improvement efforts and programming. First is we do have a bunch of placements, additional placements on the agenda for students we really struggle with that are outside our expertise to help them provide a better education, usually in a different location. So you'll see a number of contracts on there for that tonight. The second item is related to technology. Very pleased and also excited about the technology reset post-COVID. I don't want to go too far into that, but Christine and Mark are here to talk about that if you want to, related to the agenda item. But I do appreciate all their work to really think through the post-COVID pandemic technology reset and what we're doing moving forward. Very exciting there overall. We also have some enhancements to employee agreements for compensation and benefits. And so we worked very hard through the last couple months to get to comparable agreements with Chambersburg to other schools like us, but also in the IU and the county. And we followed a very strict process to follow the data to come up with these agreements. So I'm very pleased that the agreements are on for tonight for approval. Again, I think the majority of the people will be satisfied with those agreements and hopefully want to stay and be proud to work and continue to work in Chambersburg School District. And last but not least, we are getting started with the ESL staff hiring for next year. Those were 3 staff positions for our growing population of English language learners and the idea of a potential parent center somewhere in town where we can access families and students a little sooner, a little differently than just showing up at school. One other note, the last day of school is an early dismissal. Wasn't listed in the calendar, but it's been a tradition for quite a while, and I was told I have to follow that tradition whether I wanted to or not. So I'm letting everyone know the last day of school is a 2-hour early dismissal. I'll send something out Monday myself through a video, and then Brian Miller will send multiple communications following that. The Guiding Coalition Developing the Educational Blueprint meets tomorrow night for our first meeting as we work hard to stay on our timelines to build our future blueprint, as well as our feasibility study and the facilities of the buildings continue in our timeline as well. We have received about 80 community survey results so far. The mailer made it to the residents, or some of them. And so we do appreciate folks participating in that survey. We hope to get a couple hundred before we release the results, but thank you. It's on the website. It's also been pushed out in social media, and it's a QR code on the newsletter. If you can't find it, just email me. I'll be happy to send it to you as well. That concludes my report at this time.
Thank you, Chris. Item 3.03, student reports. I guess if we follow the agenda, it looks like JROTC is up first.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Cadet Hollinshead. I am
There's a microphone there for you. Sorry, the people at home will hear you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Cadet Addison Hollinshead. I am the 2024-2025 company commander for the Cassius NJRTC. So tonight I'd like to just share with you a few events that have taken place for us, our program recently within the past month or so. Next slide, please. Recently we had our highway cleanup. We have the privilege to partner with PennDOT to adopt a 2-mile stretch of highway between Hickory Ridge and Wilson College. And we have numerous cadets that participate in just cleaning up the side of the road. And we do this multiple times throughout the school year. Next slide, please. The honor roll incentive trip. This was for any cadet who has received all B's in the 2 out of the 3 marking periods from this school year. So they had the opportunity to meet with Senator Mastriano along with Representative Kaufman, and they got to take a tour, and then it concluded with a quick stop for refreshments at Chocolate World. Next slide, please. Nice. Next, we have our Penn State visit trip. This is something we do every year. This year, we were able to include over 120 cadets from 5 different schools. So this is something new for us, and we hope to continue to do that every year just because it was a lot of diversity, and we really enjoyed that. So some of the things they did was they did the USMC obstacle course, which is something that every cadet loves. They love to do it. They also toured the campus. They took a tour of the Beaver Stadium and got to visit the museum along with the little gift shop that lots of cadets like to spend their money and get something because, you know, it's Penn State. So that is very enjoyed by a lot of our cadets, and we look forward to it every year. Next slide, please. Our Shippensburg Cadet for a Day trip, this was in the last week of April. So some of our cadets participated in the Shippensburg Cadet for a Day, which was hosted by the Army ROTC at Shippensburg University. They participated in athletic events and had the opportunity to tour the variety of the National Guard equipment, and they learned about what life was like as an Army cadet for the Shippensburg students. Next slide, please. Recently we had our ball, which took place in the beginning of May. So the Jersey Ball was hosted on April 26th. I'm sorry, it was April 26th. Many awards were handed out, including Cadet Bidnick and Putt, which were awarded at $1,000 scholarship each from the Chambersburg Elks Lodge. Going along with that, we had Cadet Hannah Ashley, who received a $200,000 Navy scholarship to go to Penn State. And that is a full ride scholarship for her as well. There was also many other civic awards given by other programs like the Elks Civic Awards, all that kinds of things. And then additionally, our Meritorious Achievement Award was given to Cadet Joseph Stapira, who was awarded this award for response to a serious motor accident around Green Township, where his clear thinking and his leadership was able to help possibly save the life of a crash victim. So he was given that award, and that is the highest NJRTC award available to a cadet. So that was pretty outstanding on his end. Giving this award was our very own Area 3 manager, Lieutenant Hicks. So she's the one that is in charge of our NJRTC program and all of the programs surrounding our area. So that was pretty special in itself as long to have her present that award. Next slide, please. Recently, we had our Marine Corps 8th and I trip. This is something that the cadets really enjoy, and it is a special privilege that we had. It is to witness a remarkable performance of skilled drill team. So if any of you have seen the Marine Corps silent drill team, that we had the privilege to see that in person at the Commandant of the Marine Corps house in DC. So that was a privilege that a lot of cadets got to see, and it was very enjoyable, even though there was rainy weather that day, but a lot of kids enjoyed that. Next slide, please. Looking forward, we have a few camps going on. We have 8 cadets attending State Police Youth Week, 3 cadets attending Spirit of American Confederates at Valley Forge, 3 cadets attending Keystone Boys State, 3 cadets attending Keystone Girls State, 4 cadets attending Navy Leadership and Sailing Academy, 35 cadets attending Basic Leadership Training, and 3 cadets attending the Navy Senior Leadership School. So just real quick, they're funded by the American Legion, Post 46, funded by the National Sojourners, and funded by BPOE, the Elks Lodge. So we would not be able to do a lot of those fun camps without the help of them, so we just appreciate that. Next slide, please. Again, some upcoming events. We have the Death March, which is actually taking place this Friday, and that is a company-wide activity or event. So that'll be this Friday. We'll march a few miles and then have a picnic at the top in celebration that we made those few miles. We have our steeplechase, which is a run just around the perimeter of the school, and that'll be a company-wide function as well. Flag Day ceremony on June 14th. We have summer PT, so opportunities for cadets to get some PT in over the summer, and the dates are June 12th and July 10th. We have another hike on July 31st. Our uniform fitting for second-year cadets and above will be July 24th and August 14th. BLT, which is basic leadership training, that'll be taking place from August 12th to 15th. Uniform pickups will be August 19th. First day of school, August 22nd. And our new cadet orientation for the first-year cadets to kind of get them understanding of what's going to be happening, what's going to take place throughout their school year, what they can expect. That'll be going on August 24th. And then we have Parents' Night scheduled for August 26th. Next slide, please. Lastly, just one more quick thing. Our unit did receive Distinguished Unit with Academic Honors, so that is the most outstanding unit in NJRC Area 3. So that was a great accomplishment done by our leadership up here at the top. So we have something to really push for next year. We have goals in mind, and we are ready to achieve that same goal again next year. So I think that's it. You can click next slide just to make sure. Yep. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a couple. I'm curious. So the visit to Penn State, you guys said you did the Marine Corps obstacle course.
Yes, sir.
So is that, they have a separate Marine Corps detachment under the Naval ROTC program there, or how does that?
For the most part, sir. So any cadet who is trying to commission as a Marine Corps or a Navy officer has the ability to go through Penn State, where the Marine Corps and the Navy will work together. So they have some separate things, like, for example, the obstacle course is something separate of the Marine Corps, but for the most part, the Navy and the Marine Corps will do most of their curriculum and stuff like that together.
Okay,
It is a single ROTC that has both the Navy and a Marine option.
got it. Yeah, thank you. And the other one is, the Death March sounds rather formidable. So I'm just kind of curious, how many miles is that Death March?
Roughly 7, right, sir? 7 and a half.
This is the 8th time and no one's died yet.
You jack it up to 8 miles then, I see.
We go 2.5 miles up South Mountain, and then we go 7 miles down. Like, we take the aggressive way up.
Yeah, and it's
Then we close.
a climb, so, okay, that's good. It's a Death March.
If you'd like to join us, sir, you're welcome.
Let me consider that.
Any more questions?
There's a picnic at the end.
There is a picnic at the end. So when you make it to the top, there's a picnic for you waiting. Any more questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Cash's student government is up next.
My name is Carly Skoltedi, and I'm the vice president from our Cassius student government. I'm here just to report a few things that are happening towards the end of the school year. So next slide, please. Spring sports, our spring sports are coming to an end, but our track and field team and softball team have made it to playoffs. Our track and field team's making it to the state championships, and they will be competing this weekend, May 23rd through May 25th at Shippensburg University, and our softball team will be hosting the first round of District 3 playoffs at Norlow Park on this Thursday. Next slide, please. Decision Day. Decision Day is tomorrow, Wednesday, May 25th. Cassius will celebrate our senior class and students who have decided to go to college, military, or the workforce will be celebrated through the day with various activities developed by the senior class, Ms. Heimbaugh and Ms. Leonard. Next slide, please. And graduation. Cash's graduation is May 31st, and we'll be hosting our graduation at the Trojan Stadium. Cash's student government would like to wish all graduating seniors a hearty congratulations and sincere good luck as they take their next steps. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And CMS.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Sahir Morel, and I'll be giving the student school board report. So since our last meeting in April, we've had our senior send-off. We had the Night of the Stars as well as a trip to the Lake Tobias. So senior send-off went, oh, next slide, please. I apologize. Senior send-off went like really, really well. It's kind of like our version of Decision Day, as some of you may or may not know. A lot of raffles, lots of good food, and our seniors enjoyed it, which was kind of what we wanted. So it was very well put together. This year was a little different because usually it's something just organized by our school board, but we got a lot of other people involved that would like to say, give a goodbye to our seniors, which was very nice. Next slide, please. So then we had Night of the Stars, which is where we highlight students that have earned scholarships through their community from their college that they're attending. So it's kind of like a night for them to feel good about themselves, their hard work, and for being able to get these scholarships. Next slide, please. So this was actually today. I went, it was really fun. It was hosted by Science Club, and they extended this invitation out to students that would like to go. So most of it was Science Club members, and then another group was also just students that wanted to tag along. We learned a lot. We saw like animals I've never seen in person before. It was a very enlightening experience. It was a very good way to start off this week. Next slide, please. So coming up, we have a Spirit Week, Baccalaureate, CMS, and graduation. So Spirit Week, we had planned it to be a little bit earlier, but we had to move it down due to all the testing and stuff. We didn't want to stress people out about what they had to wear, on a week that they had to worry about these exams. So this Spirit Week is actually taking place this week, and we hope to get these students involved because I know, we all know that the school year is ending, and even though it's ending, we still want, something going on in school. We don't want give reason to people to stay home and do nothing, So we thought it would be a good idea. Next slide, please. So Baccalaureate honors and celebrates our class of 2024 before graduation. So some people see it as a spiritual ceremony. It's like blessing our seniors before they leave and close this chapter to start a new one. Next slide, please. So CMS, there's so much going on. Everyone's so excited, which is next Tuesday, I believe, if I'm not wrong. There's so many competitions in the mornings, afternoon. We try to get everyone involved, try not to have people inside so much, because throughout the school day, everyone's inside for so many hours, schoolwork, homework, tests. So today, that day is a day where everyone gets to go out, get some sun, and spend some time with their friends before they say goodbye to the school year. Next slide, please. So, and finally we have graduation, which is Thursday, May 30th. And seeing that this year is coming to a close, so these graduation plans have been finalized. Our seniors are done and ready to graduate. And so, of course, board members are all invited to send our seniors on their way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. 3.04, recognition of life skills students in JLG program. Mr. Rocker.
Well, good evening. For those of you who don't know me, Brad Ocker, High School Principal Cassius. So tonight I just want to give you a brief overview of workforce development that we've accomplished this school year, as well as recognize an individual for his successes. So for starters, JLG recently had their graduation ceremony on May 9th in McConnellsburg. 10 Chambersburg Area School District students attended with their families. They received a diploma, a JLG lunchbox, JLG water bottle, and t-shirt. JLG also provided a dinner for all the families who were in attendance. JLG had over 80 students attend from 18 different schools. Chambersburg Area School District students, of course, were offered commitment letters from JLG. There were actually 13 and a half, or 13 students plus one part-time who accepted full-time jobs before they graduate next Friday. To me, that's not too shabby, given the current situation. One student is actually continuing school to work, or like I said, part-time, and he is going to go off and do some more tech welding skills at Triangle Tech. Another student that we wish to recognize tonight, and he is not present with us, but this individual actually surprised himself and was offered a full-time job. We're going to identify that individual as student X, rather than say names tonight. So X was this is some information and feedback from his supervisor, which was very impressive if you were to engage in this with this individual. X was a very helping hand to have on our team. He came to work every day with a positive attitude and had a good relationship with his coworkers. X always did his best to stay busy and never questioned any task that was laid out for him. Now, I think it's actually very important to note the high levels of marks that we receive about this individual. There's nothing negative. The supervisors were always encouraged to give him information for improvement, but again, everything was very positive for this individual. This is just another example of how school-to-work programming that in the partnerships that we're building is building workforce confidence with our students. What I'd like to do now is just share with you some data points just from all the partnerships thus far. So again, with JLG, the fall JLG School to Work program has 48 applicants from Caches. That means these students will literally go part of their day from Caches and earn $17+ an hour, plus they'll earn graduation credits at the same time. We are also very excited to see this large increase, and because this is something that Chambersburg Area School District started, we now, like I said earlier, have 18 sending school districts and over 100 total students plan to attend JLG next year from all those 18 schools. That's really, really good, not just for Chambersburg, but also our community. Volvo is another partnership. At this time, we have unknown numbers who will actually attend there, but we have internships, externships that will be filled out with our students. We had several completed that this year, but that information won't actually come until fall because Volvo actually posts their things online and the students have to go online to apply. Another workforce development partnership is Paramount. It's actually a nursing home out towards Caledonia, if you're not familiar with its location. We currently have 10 applications for that, and we just reopened it because they're looking for a few more. Right now, we have a co-op. We have 11 applicants for co-op next year. We're working, of course, to increase that. Cindy Jewart, who's one of our staff members, will be our full-time co-op instructor next year, so that way she can oversee all these programs. And she just recently held meetings, what she's considering industry clusters. The first one that we met with was a future teacher / counselor academy, and we met on May 9th. So please stay tuned for more information to come regarding that. Health Careers Institute, which is best known as HCI, is located with our hospital. That program was once going to end. It was a very big concern because of an individual that we worked with for many years, Angie Austin, is actually retiring here in May. And luckily, they found a successor by the name of Mandy Six. And right now we had 6 students complete this program this school year. So that's very good because those are individuals going into the medical field. We are rejuvenating our partnership with Menno Haven. Menno Haven, of course, due to COVID, had to shut things down, but right now there's no paid positions available for our students, but we had 34 students attend the information meeting who are very much interested in going to Menno Haven. Another new partnership is Burpee, Burpee Plants, Burpee Seeds. They're actually located over in the Path Valley area. However, they are very interested in having 5 to 7 of our students start there this spring. And hopefully those individuals will live closer to that direction because that'd be quite the hike from Chambersburg. Another one that you've never maybe heard of, and I just recently learned about this, is called Burnside America Inc. It's a hydraulic equipment supplier here in Chambersburg. And we just established a new partnership with them, and they are looking for several of our students, but we aren't sure exactly how many yet. So stay tuned. And then, of course, lastly, we've had for many years, Patriot Federal Credit Union that's located in Chambersburg High School. And every year they employ 4 of our students in-house. So, and then, of course, many of those students go on to participate in their banking once they graduate. So this is just a basic overview of what we've accomplished this year and some of the partnerships that we've reestablished since COVID, and I'm very pleased at the numbers that you see here. So if you were taking count of this, there's almost 150 students who will be participating in workforce development, where they will either earn credit for high school, but at the same time earn pay in many cases that they will take with them and possibly help them with college or their futures. So any questions? Yes, Mike.
Mr. Walker, thank you for the good news. That sounds like it's very exciting. And but there was a recent open house a week or two ago, a company that's local now, and they were complaining about how hard it is to fill high-tech kind of programming, computer, and coincidentally, I think on the agenda tonight is a creation of a computer science honor society, and I think that's perfect timing. So I hope this moves into other fields as well as, turning wrenches and fixing stuff into places like computer programming where there's a big need right now too. So thank you.
Sure, I agree with you, Mike. Actually, we had some internships down at Volvo this year, where they were working in their offices doing those types of things, pre-engineering and so forth. And it's also very nice to know that we started the computer science courses about 3 years ago, and we're at the point now where that teacher has a full schedule just teaching computer science type things. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And congratulations to, I hate saying this, but student X.
Yeah. Yes, wonderful.
Okay, item 5 and 5.01, privilege of the floor. We'll go in order of the signings. There's 2 folks who've signed in, but don't worry, if you didn't sign in and still wish to speak, you certainly may. First one is Valerie Jordan.
I see the agenda tonight is for agenda items, so I'm going to address 4 agenda items tonight to Superintendent Bigger and all the school board, and to the public at large. Agenda item 6.06, Superintendent Hiring Authority. As far back as I can remember, with former Superintendent Joe Stubbe from New Jersey, this was the protocol. Next agenda item 607, budget transfer request, charter school tuition. I did the math on this agenda item and how it negatively affects my husband and me personally. On top of the $133 my husband and I have to shell out in this year's budget for these unaccountable schools, we have to shell out another $8.35 tonight, rounding up to $142. That's what these schools have cost my husband and me alone this year. In parenthesis, imagine what these schools cost the heaviest of lifters here, all the businesses, large and small, within our school district. And the parenthesis, never mind what these schools are doing to our school budget. This money of ours is not going into the CASD classrooms. Let me remind you all of this very fact. Everyone in this room is in the same wayward boat my husband and I are in. And I will also be sharing this public document with our state lawmakers to impress upon them they are in the same wayward boat we are all in this room are in. And I have every single one of them an email. I sat there and I did it. It took me a while, but I did it. Okay, gifts, grants, and donations. I saw a very generous donation of $8,250 offered by the district's engineering firm. I'm hoping there will never be any more rude comments passed by any current or future board members maligning any current or future engineering firm over cost overruns. And the last item is 901, first reading of policy 903, public comment. Consider 5 minutes of public speaking, seeing the former board allowed 6 minutes in total during its meetings. Our county commissioners allow 5 minutes at their public meetings. That time frame works great for our county residents. Franklin County Chair Dean Host is also running a fair and impartial meeting on behalf of all of us, and I attend those meetings, and sometimes my husband does too. So that's why I can speak to this issue. And all I have to say is thank you, and please take everything I have into consideration, because the state lawmakers are going to get this document, because I am really upset that I have to put out this kind of money for cyber charter schools.
Wrap it up, Mrs. Jordan,
And
please.
that's that.
Thank you. Ms. Schuler.
I believe I'm gonna have to pass because it's not an agenda item, but it was part of the presentation.
That's up to you guys.
I don't have a problem with any board member having an
Fine with
objection.
me, fine with me.
Go ahead.
I attended the Night of the Stars event last night, per Maggie Hoover's invitation. And it was a very nice event, recognizing what I believe they said was either 82 or 87 of our students. Many of our students are college-bound, and that's very encouraging to us. However, we know that getting into college and completing college are two different challenges. And any support or any mentoring that occurs goes a long way. Taking college-level courses prior to our first full year at school is a game changer, which brings me to some questions. It's no secret I'm passionate about students who are vulnerable, disadvantaged. I like to assist in removing barriers to educational opportunities. So I'm curious to know, I believe there was a grant last fall for dual enrolled students. I believe it was in the amount of $75,000. I'm just curious, what was the criteria for students to be able to access that money? How much of that money was spent? And then how many students did this impact? And what does our future look like with money for dual enrolled students, and particularly our vulnerable students, in getting them that access so that they can be supported while they're already in school, but then taking that next step, taking a college level course. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the audience wish to speak? Okay. Thank you. The sixes, from 6.01 to 6.42, 42 consent agenda items. These will be voted on all in one block unless a board member wishes to, 1, discuss any item, or 2, vote on any item separately, and if so, we'll pull it out of the consent and make it an individual vote.
Yes, I have questions on 2 items, 6.15 and 6.17.
Okay, so we'll pull those 2 off and do those separately. Any other? Okay, we'll do the regular consent items first, so we'll do 6.01 through 6.14. Then we'll do 6.16, then we'll do 6.18 through 6.42. Do we have a motion to approve those consent agenda items I just mentioned?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Hayek, second by Mr. Walker. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, and so moved. So we'll do the two items that have been separated, we'll do those individually. We'll do Mr. Haydick, we'll do a motion and a second, and then we can have the discussion on it.
Okay.
So item 6.15, gifts, grants, and donations.
Yeah, my question.
Do we have a
Oh.
motion?
Move to
first?
approve.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Diller, second by Mr. McKee. Okay, discussions or questions?
Yes, the question I have is, this is a donation, right, from, the one I'm referring to is the one that Ms. Jordan just brought up, from Crabtree Rohrbach. And number one, I'm pleased to see that's such a generous donation. I'm unsure as to what the leadership content is all about, and I'm hoping that since Crabtree Rohrbach is involved in our serious planning, that this may be training that's going to allow the leaders in the district to really focus on the change that's coming. And if I'm correct, then,
Yeah.
you know, that's cool.
Yeah, we have a whole week of professional learning set up, and they're participating in funding some of those experiences. So starts on Monday, the week of the 24th, and we have expectations all week, in addition to professional learning throughout the whole summer. So yes, all of it centers around our vision and direction, what we're doing.
That's great, thank you.
Any other questions or discussions on item 6.15? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it and so moved. 6.17, personal finance management resource. Do we have a motion, please?
I move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. McKee, second by Dr. Diller. Questions or discussions?
The comment really, first, I noticed that this training is free forever. And I'm like happy as a taxpayer that that's the case. And I'd like to know, can you tell me more about the organizations that's delivering the training, what they're all about? And then are there other topics that may be applicable that are also free that will help students know about some fundamental skills that we all need to know about managing personal finance and all that stuff?
Yes, this is a course that was recommended through our Pennsylvania Department of Education, and we're a little ahead moving to the personal finance management course, something that our curriculum instruction previous committee wanted us to head towards as well. And this is a resource that our teachers, along with Crystal Ottenslager, selected. And the best news is that the whole course was free for us. So.
Super.
Any other questions or discussions? Okay, we'll vote next. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so moved. Policy and legislation, item 9.01. Public comments in board meetings, the first reading. And that's first reading, so we don't need a motion.
Yeah, we need motion
Motions.
approval for
Okay.
first reading, and it
Okay.
goes to second and final
Okay.
next meeting.
Do we have a motion for the public comments in board meetings, policy 903?
Move to approve it. Second. Second.
Okay. Motion by Mrs. Gogler, second by Mrs. Gauss. Questions or discussions on the motion?
Yes. Anybody else would like to go? No one? Yeah, I have several comments. Pull the darn thing up. First is with respect to the authority. there's a relatively long list of public individuals that may be entitled to comment. And I think there's one that might be missing, just a simple oversight, and that would be any parent of a student that the parent does not live in the district. There are plenty of families that have mother and father separated for whatever reason, and I see no reason why a person that lives in another state, if their son or daughter is going to school here, they aren't entitled to make a comment. And if you look at all the other categories, if they don't make one of those, then they can't speak. So I'm just suggesting add that other category.
For clarity, it will be under number 6, you would add any district student's parent as another line item, potentially?
Well,
Yeah.
it could be a district student
And/or parent.
Or parent.
Yes.
Okay.
That'd be perfectly fine. Thank you. The other
Not to run the meeting, everybody else okay with that? Just
Yeah.
because
Yes.
Mike says it, everybody else has to agree to it?
Yes, we're good. That's good.
No, you can throw stuff at me if you want. Okay, now moving on to the sign in and request to comment. I think it's important to know the name of the commenter, and if they're from this municipality is fine, the topic they want to address, and not only the group or the organization affiliation, but if they have a relationship with a student, for instance, like a parent. So if someone gets up to speak, I'd like to know that they're a parent speaking about an issue rather than some group or organization person.
What portion is that on?
It's on guidelines for public individual participation, and then sign in and request a comment down in the middle of the document.
Thank you.
And then,
Well, many times I've heard in the couple years I've been here, they usually say I'm a parent of a student. You know, most of them are very free to say that, you know. I mean, I think it's a given, but that's my personal opinion.
So
I
was pulling up the actual sign-in sheet, so what are you actually asking, Mr. Haydick?
what I'm suggesting is that in a section of this 9.01,
The sign-in and request a comment section.
yes,
There's
that
4
in
items.
addition, number 4, if you simply embellish it with, say, if you're going to represent a group or an organization or a student. Because if someone comes up and makes a comment, I'd like to know if they're in fact speaking as a parent or just somebody else in the community that has an issue that they want to talk about. That's all. I'm just trying to clarify, the rules of the road, rules of engagement. If this doesn't make sense to all the board members, I'm happy to just move on.
The only thing I'm thinking is if somebody might come in and address us that they want you to know that they're the parent, they may go on a different topic.
I'm sorry, repeat that?
That maybe they would not want to, they would not specify that they're a parent because they don't really want to go there. They want to just say what they want to say.
From my view, the section above says who. This just says what goes on the form. So we already approved the section above of who can comment legally, and then the bottom section is just the form. It's this form right here.
Okay.
And we did just a little bit of history. I mean, probably goes back maybe 4 years ago now. We did revise it, when I first came on the board, you would have to provide your name and your address and everything. And we did it, now that they put the address in the sign-in sheet, again, to maintain some of that confidentiality. Okay? The meetings are recorded, whether it's just audio or video and audio, and, so some information, not saying that it maybe would be helpful, but it's somewhat a privacy of the individual who's speaking. Like, that's why we changed the address where you don't have to stand up and say, I live at 2568 Echo Springs Road, you know, and then everyone listening or watching knows, you know, where to come visit you if they wanted to come knock on your door.
Well, they know where you live at. Okay, and that's fair enough. I'm okay to move on to my last, I think, comment about this. Yeah, and the kind of towards the end of the section, I think this policy is very well written in all respects, and I'm only just trying to make some changes that might improve it. But the one thing about I think the president can say, hey, you're too lengthy. Too lengthy is ambiguous. If it's going to be, you're over the 3 minutes or any other limitation on time, that's the limit, not too lengthy. Because when does someone get too lengthy? It differs from everybody. So I would just suggest that if you're going to say the president has the right to shut someone down because they're too lengthy, it's because they've exceeded the time limit. And that's a finite number, and no one should be able to quibble with that. Right?
That makes sense.
I
We-
agree.
We used to have a clock in here. Is that something that just
I would
isn't?
not let that be put up on that wall.
Dr. Long
I'm-
keeps
We have it over
keeps a
there.
clock for me.
I'm fine either way. So I was just curious because if you're speaking, it could be helpful to see it,
Yeah.
to know.
It's just very intimidating, like, to have a counting clock while somebody's presenting.
Right,
Are you asking that we make it a hard stop at 3 minutes? Is that what you're
I'm
suggesting?
just suggesting that if you say it's too lengthy, lengthy means 3 minutes to Carl, it means 5 minutes to me, 7 minutes to somebody else, so you gotta put a number on it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
The
That's a
The
good
nu-
idea.
the number's 3 minutes.
Well, then let it stay 3 minutes,
Yeah.
not too lengthy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I'm on board.
When the statement exceeds 3 minutes, personally directed. or, yeah.
And the only other change I would recommend is that the clock doesn't start until the person gets done, any introduction. They want to make a statement, let it start when they start with the statement, not with like, hi, I'm Joe Blow and I live here and there and all that. Just give them 3 minutes and let them have what they want to say. That's all I have to say.
That was lengthy.
But it wasn't episodic.
Yes, yes.
Can we confirm that the first meeting or the second meeting has agenda and non-agenda on it? I think that was one of the decisions we had to make. So, Scott, if you could scroll a little further down, I believe. So tonight, example, Gail was allowed to speak on a non-agenda item, but it says agenda item. So I'm trying to get to the point where I don't know if it's in this one. Keep scrolling a little bit further. Okay, so we're gonna have to reference back on that. I don't think it's in this section of the agenda. That might be in the resolution. So for clarity from the board on that topic, are the community the committee of the whole and the public forums were designed to talk about agenda and non-agenda. Voting meeting was to talk about agenda only prior to a vote. If you want to add agenda and non-agenda to the beginning, we can do that. Is it in there? Under authority, okay. So it does reference agenda and non-agenda. So that is a change that we have made to represent what Gail did tonight. So just as an FYI.
Yes.
I'm paging through, I can't find the 3 minute or lengthy section. Where's that at?
Way down at the bottom.
It's,
The policy is lengthy,
it's,
apparently.
it's right under guidelines, the first one. Guidelines for presiding officer, number 1,
Yeah,
at the very end of it.
Part of it struck
Yeah.
out.
Right there. Yeah. Number 1,
Okay.
290.
So just make it that when the statement reaches 3 minutes.
It does mention 3 minutes earlier on.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll make those changes, and then the second reading would be final. So you can still approve tonight as is, and we'll make those recommended changes.
Sounds good.
And just a general comment on public comment, you know, now into year 11 here, the past 6 months, public comments have really been minimal compared to my first 10 years on the board. Now, of course, if there becomes a hot topic item, I'm sure we'll have a lot of them. But where I want to go with this is, I believe Mr. Bigger's forums, when we have the first meeting, I call it a town hall meeting. That's the term I keep using for it, where at Mr. Bigger's town hall meeting at 5 o'clock for ahead of our first CAL meeting of the month, that is a great opportunity for community to come and have a dialogue, interact with the superintendent directly. You know, one of the drawbacks of public comment is it's not a dialogue between the board and the person from the public who's commenting. You know, it's not a back and forth dialogue, whereas the format that Chris has at his town hall meeting, that's a great opportunity to dialogue back and forth. So I think that has led to a lot of the public comments being diminished, and also just another shout out to Chris and his leadership and that of his team. You know, there's not a whole lot of public comment because things are just cruising along pretty smooth right now. However, there are some heavy lifts coming up here, and I'm sure we will start getting more, but we don't usually have many problems with people exceeding the 3 minutes, or I mean, we used to have debates over when we'd hit the 30 minutes whether we were going to keep going, and we're not getting anywhere close to that lately.
Well, I'd like to comment that when you have open, honest communication, whether it be individually or whether it be in writing, as the recent newsletter that went out, whether it be the public forums, there's a sense of trust that is built, and I think the community needs to be encouraged to contact their representative when there's misunderstandings. I find that many times people think something's happening when it isn't really what they've been told, and they just keep passing it on to more people, and it just snowballs. All it would take is a contact to a board member or to the superintendent or to the building principal, whomever is involved in their situation, to clarify, is this really what has happened? Is this really factual information? We just tend to believe, and I think it's always been the case, but social media has just made it so much worse. And, you know, if it's out there, it has to be the truth. Well, no, a lot of times it's not factual information. And so people need to go to what I always refer to as the horse's mouth and get it, you know, straight from the person involved rather than just passing on information. That's just my opinion.
Any other discussions or questions on first reading for policy 903? Okay, we need to vote then. And Chris, you have taken the notes
I got
for
the notes,
for the revisions. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, and so moved. Second reading of policy 109, resource materials. Mr. Woodman, do you have anything to present on this, or just, if not, we'll do a motion and second, and then you can maybe field questions if there are any. Okay. Do we have a motion and a second for the second reading of policy 109?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Diller, second by Mrs. Gauss. Any questions or discussions on item 9.02? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, so moved. Prior to the adjournment, you see there's 4 items listed for information only. And just as a footnote, just a conversation with another board member, at our next committee of the whole meeting in June, when we come to the bottom and have a discussion item, we will have a discussion on, board member asked that we could discuss the video, audio policy of the meeting. So that'll be a discussion item at our CAL meeting in June. And again, that's a 3-step process. We'll discuss it, decide whether we want to move forward, and then move it to an agenda if we so choose. So with that, meeting's adjourned.